find a press that is capable and people willing to do the job. Californians in our education system should not fear the threats of a Texas manufacturer of school books. We are a resourceful people, and I'm sure that we could come up with a more progressive textbook than what is currently coming out of Texas. And then there is college, where a student can easily go into debt for the next 30 years of their life, graduate to only realize it could take 5 to 10 years to find the job they want. During that time, they gradually keep their loans in forbearance and collect more interest and more debt. One can refinance their house, but when it comes to student loans, it's impossible to refinance the debt. If a person can refinance their house, why can't they refinance their student loans? This has to change. I've had a 6.5% rate for the last 15 years. Some of my friends have rates as low as 2.25%. If higher education means anything to this nation, students need to have the option to refinance their loans. No student should be left with the burden of a bad interest rate on their education. Our education system needs to be overhauled. The system needs rework in every aspect, including school lunches. It's no wonder so many children have health problems. Look what passes for food in an elementary school cafeteria. Speaking of health care, was that ever a snafu for our nation? Are you kidding me? As a nation, we got all worked up over a historic piece of legislation which did more good than bad. In many of our eyes, it did not go far enough. But it's a start. It's some place to start. Some good changes, but they need to kick in now, not in 3 years. Talk about fear. I'm still waiting for the death panels. Where are they? Sarah Palin assured me that they would appear, and she is full of facts. Where are these death panels? Where are these death panels that have mobs of people wondering if they would lose their Medicare? People shouting, I don't want to pay for universal health care, but not knowing that they already pay for universal health care. But it's only available to our troops and if you're over 65. I want universal health care and believe that we can develop a better system as a nation. I'm lucky. I have health insurance, but I would gladly have my tax dollars pay for the health of a friend, family member, or a stranger. If every... Come on. This is America. We take care of each other. If every employer and employee in this great state paid their insurance premium to a state-run healthcare system, could we do it cheaper and more efficient than the system that is in place now? The option should be open and on the table for discussion without all the insanity. No one should ever be told that after using a medicine for 9 years that your insurance provider no longer covers their medicine because it's now all of a sudden too expensive. So that person's medicine is switched and their health declines. In turn, they are switched to a second medicine and their health declines further. And with a third medicine, they are finally stabilized. But the trial of medicines has taken the toll on their already fragile body. The net result is this person can no longer work just to afford health insurance. So they are put on disability, taken out of the workforce, all because their insurance did not want to cover their medicine that they'd been on the previous 9 years. The net result is this person is on disability, paid for by us, the taxpayers, because their insurance wanted to make more profit. This kind of shenanigans need to be addressed. That's my mother I'm talking about right there. When you hear politicians talk about smaller government, what do they mean? Would they cut education, welfare, or have the cojones to go after the military budget or the drug enforcement agency's overbloated budget? What is smaller government? Does smaller government include the closing of American military bases on foreign soil? Does smaller government mean that citizens are going to be responsible for plowing the roads in the winter? What is smaller government? Is it the federal, state, or local level? Does smaller government mean less parking and speeding enforcement? We could use some down in downtown Sac. Come on. Smaller government mean that local, state, and federal municipalities will quit spending money on irrigating grass where grass is not planted and where it should not grow? This is most places in California. Smaller government mean less regulations to protect public health and safety? Smaller government means different things to different groups. Different people want different cuts, so nothing is cut and only more government is added. It's the old equation of a negative plus a negative equals a positive. Democrat less government plus Republican less government equals more government. This election year we hear a lot about smaller government from people who voted for 2 wars. It seems odd to me that you can reduce a government by starting not 1 but 2 wars. This is what I'm hearing from the left and right. Smaller government, blah, blah, blah. Smaller government mean less litter crews to pick up the plastic bags that consumers think they have the right to for free? Come on, business, where's your spirit of capitalism? When is the last time business gave away anything to consumers for free, besides the lead found in imported goods from China? What a bonus the lead was, thank you. With gifts like tainted formula, poorly built crowd controllers, and the lead paint found in infant toys, we will need smaller government because we'll have less children that make it to adulthood. A quality product does not matter with capitalism. It's about cheap consumer goods. To my good friends in China, tighten up your market a little. The idea of free market is not to give away things for free. Charge the American public for the lead next time. Speaking of the free market, Proposition 19. When people in this great state and nation think of Prop 19, it's often thought of as the pro-pot proposition, which it is, but a huge potential component being left out of discussion is industrial hemp. The proposition will allow for the production of industrial hemp to be used for clothing, paper, fuel, paint, fiberboard, food, and a multitude of other items. Hemp could jumpstart California's economy. In case you're not aware, hemp is the cousin of marijuana. The plant has virtually no THCs in its cell. A person could smoke a whole field of hemp and only catch a headache. Hemp is a multi-billion-dollar industry waiting to happen. If Prop 19 passes, California businesses will develop the technology to support and maintain a booming industrial hemp economy. As other states come online, our manufacturing sector will export the technology and the know-how to rebuild our nation's once flourishing hemp industry. Switching gears to the other side of Prop 19, we must look closely at our nation's drug policy. Recently, Attorney General Eric Holder gave threatening words to supporters of Proposition 19, saying that the federal government would enforce and uphold the prohibition of marijuana. Thank you. Over 800,000 people were arrested last year across this nation for marijuana possession. Many of the incarcerated were arrested for personal consumption. Mr. Holder thinks that marijuana has no medicinal value, and anyone that smokes pot deserves jail time. The thing with our nation's drug policy is that it sees no difference between marijuana use and marijuana abuse. If a person smokes pot once a day, they're considered useless and a pothead. But if a person enjoys a glass of wine a day, they're considered a connoisseur. In many states, if a person is caught with multiple bags of pot, they would be considered a dealer. But if a person has a cab from Napa Valley, a cab from Alexander Valley, and a cab from the Sierra Foothills, they are considered a wine connoisseur. Prop 19 puts pot on the same playing field as wine and has the potential to be just as big of a cash cow as the wine industry of California, if not bigger. When prohibition of marijuana came about in 1937, the manufacturer of DuPont and William Randolph Hearst, the owner of several well-known newspapers, played a huge role in making hemp and marijuana illegal. Mr. Hearst ran several fabricated stories related to pot in his respected newspapers across the nation. The movie Reefer Madness also contributed to people's fears on marijuana. For the last 73 years, the United States government has waged an unwinnable war on the nonviolent citizens of this nation. It is time to stop the war and stop the insanity. Prop 19 boils down to this. If you vote no, you are voting for jail time for those that consume this illegal plant. The governor recently signed a bill reducing the penalties associated with marijuana, but where are consumers supposed to purchase their goods? If Prop 19 does not pass, the black market wins. A yes vote on Prop 19 is a vote for the free market, and yes, we can have progressive textbooks printed on California on industrial hemp paper. This past summer, BT's blunder in the Gulf caught the attention of many people. Bill Maher, who I watch regularly, was upset that the Obama administration acted too little too late in response to this bill. Although I agree with Bill on many things, this was not one of them. I drive a car that requires oil and gas, and until the time when electric cars are affordable, and I don't need gas and oil, I'm as much to blame for the spill as BP. So is he, and so are you if you drive. We all need it, gas, and we love it. We can't curse BP. They're simply providing a service that we demand every time we drive our vehicles. Bill now has a Tesla. Must be nice. Which brings me to another point. This is my rant here. Tesla, what are you doing? Do you know who the people are pulling for you? We're environmentalists living in the middle class, and most of us cannot afford a Tesla Roadster, nor can we fit our family in one. We need an electric car compared to the Subaru Outback that can get us to the Forest Service roads and deliver us to nature. We're the ones pulling for electric cars. How about building us one that suits our needs? As a corporation, you cater to the upper class that can afford your luxury cars, but in the end, it's the middle class that will drive the trend of electric cars, so why not include us? All right. Will it handle Forest Service roads?
Can I give the camera back to you?
Okay.
I'll take the kid for a while.
I'll look into it. Nissan and GM almost get it. They at least built commuter cars that are electric that will help the market this year and next. We're the car that says, you people fought for us, we got your back, here's your eco-wagon. Electric cars will play a huge role in the near future in combating climate change. Believe in climate change or not, you can believe in the sustainability of this nation. Sustainability means managing all of our nation's energy resources such as wind and sun, just not coal, nuclear, and water. We must invest in solar and wind. Germany has so much solar that their nation's grid cannot handle it, and they're scaling back the rebates. This is not the case in America. We could add several thousand megawatts to our grid before we reach the peak. Wind and solar are the sustainable forms of energy that will power America through this century and beyond. If solar is good enough for a military satellite flying above our atmosphere, why isn't it good enough for our home? Google solar lease and see what comes up. In this state, there are several: Longevity, Citizenry, Solar City, Sunrun, and a slew of others that provide a residential solar lease that pretty much takes the place of your electricity bill. Water is a tough issue in this state. It was once said that whiskey is for drinking and water is for fighting. A statement I can almost live by. I like my whiskey, but I love my water. Our state is in a water mess. The Bay Delta is on the verge of collapse. The farmers complain about not having enough water. The fishermen complain about the fish not having enough water. Meanwhile, I walk down my neighborhood and see overwatered lawns to the point where a small stream is running down the road. The water gravy train is over. Water is at a premium. To just give out water freely based on squatter rights is a bad way to go about it. Sure, it worked fine in 1901 when the population was small, but water use is a different animal today and needs to be looked at with a new approach. I'm calling on all Californians to rip out their lawn. Quit wasting water. Let the farmers and fishermen have your water. Do we really need a lush green lawn when it's not raining for 5 months at a time? As a nation, what would happen globally if we only did businesses with countries that have our environmental standards? What would happen is this: we would rebuild America's manufacturing sector and provide thousands of jobs to citizens overnight. Of course, one of the main reasons for outsourcing jobs is the lack of environmental standards. Where there are no standards, business is cheap. But then again, you may end up with tainted puppy food or tainted formula. Is the trade-off worth it? Oh, good answer. Thank you. In closing, I keep seeing a commercial for a certain politician that features men and women in police uniforms, saying they support capital punishment. However, this person claims she is pro-life. You cannot be pro-life and pro-capital punishment. That just makes you anti-abortion. And that just says we must protect the child in the womb, but once the child is outside, it's on its own. Because many of the people who are anti-abortion are often also the same people who vote to cut education, vote to cut health care, vote not to fund after-school programs because it's seen as welfare. They're basically saying, I will defend you in the womb, but good luck surviving in the world. And that just makes you a bad person, bad neighbor, bad citizen of this nation, and a bad politician. One last thought before I go. To those that like to wrap up my flag in fear and salt of patriotism, although I do like capitalism, I will not buy it. And I will not buy an American flag unless it's made in America. Anyone know? Yeah. Anyone know where I can get an American flag made out of hemp? That'd be hard to get. Anyway, thank you for listening. Thank you for being a good audience, and thank you for being here to support the Sanity.
That was freaking awesome. He made a mention about trash and stuff. There are 5 trash cans in this area. It's really important to throw all your trash away or I get the bill and I'm broke.